All right, we're here today with Danny Shirley of Confederate Railroad, one of my all-time favorites.
Oh, thank you.
You are so welcome. I was so excited to find out you guys have new music coming out, and I was even more excited when I heard Trashy Women was remade, and you have some amazing guests on there. Talk about that, and talk about the new project and just everything.
Well, the new album's Lucky to Be Alive, and at this point of our career, that's very true. First new original music we've done in 15 years.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long.
I can't either.
It's kind of crept up on me. Have 11 new songs on the album, and we did recut Trashy Women. A friend of ours, songwriter buddy of mine, Willie Nelson, who co-wrote Cadillac Kind for me years ago.
Right.
He had the idea of recutting that, and I'm like, well, why? We've sold millions of copies of it, got awards for it and everything. Why redo it? And he said, what if you got some other guests on it to do it? So we got thinking about that, and then I had the idea, well, if we're going to do this, let's just give all the proceeds to charity. And so we got busy on it and tried to think who we wanted on it, and I wanted to kind of span the generations, and I'm singing the choruses. John Anderson did the first verse, did a great job on that. Willie Nelson did the second verse, which was the coolest thing ever, hearing Willie sing Trashy Women.
Oh my gosh,
and
yes.
then our friend Colt Ford did the third verse. And like I say, all proceeds go to a foundation I started years ago called the Hunter Worley Foundation. And all these guys were gracious enough to donate their time to the foundation and everything, and it was a lot of fun to do that.
Oh, I can imagine it was a lot of fun. Now, did you do it in studio where everybody came in?
No, we did it in
tracks,
different parts. The whole album, we've been, this has been a project been going on for 3 or 4 years. I didn't even intend to make this record. Some of these new acts that are out now and doing so well have come to me over the years saying they grew up, being Confederate Railroad fans and all this, which was so cool because I remember going to Waylon and saying, you're what's made me a country music fan.
Absolutely.
And to have these guys come to me was real gratifying. But I got together with a couple of friends of mine, Blue Miller and Sonny LeMaire, and I said, let's write some stuff and kind of pitch to these guys, that might be something fun to do. And as we started writing these things, it started more and more sounding like a Confederate Railroad album. So I said, well, let's just go ahead and make a record, and we'll sell on iTunes and at the shows and stuff. And lo and behold, got a record deal with Sony on it. So one thing led to another, and now we've got a new album coming out in July.
That's awesome. And you wrote 7 of these, correct? Or co-wrote?
7 or 8 on the album, I think. Yeah.
Are any of them personal stories? Any of them?
Well, anything you write, there's going to be something personal in there. It might be hidden,
right.
On some deeper than others. But on some of these, I was going through a divorce at the time, and a lot of those emotions came out in this. There's a couple directly about the divorce, one where I deal with humor, and one where I deal with it with anger. But I actually played those songs with my ex-wife a couple of weeks ago. I said, look, I got this new record coming out. You might want to hear these songs before they come out. But she got a kick out of it. We're on great terms and all. But yeah, there was, I would say 75% of the album sounds like Confederate Railroad music, what you would expect. Now in production, me and Blue Miller produced this, and he was able to take old-sounding Confederate Railroad records and make them sound 21st century, which I'm terrible about, getting lost in the past and just being happy staying there.
Sure.
In the production, he brought that up to date and everything. Sounded real good. And then there was a few things that we did different on this album. I've even in the old days, I always stayed away from love songs and things like that because everybody did that. And even our ballads back then were more about family situations, things like Jesus' Mama, When You Leave That Way, things like that. But we did put a couple of relationship songs on this album. And I guess the most different thing we did, I've always had a lot of respect for bluegrass and bluegrass musicians. And never did listen to it that much, but I started working with a guy named Tim Austin. And he was big into bluegrass and brought me some records he'd made over the years. So I had this old song I'd written years ago called I Don't Feel As Young As I Used To. And I got to listen to this bluegrass and thinking, we could change that into a bluegrass tune. So that was something different to do. So that was a lot of fun.
Is it hard to make that transition when you're not used to it? Does it take a little bit?
It was different, but all I did is I just got the best bluegrass musicians around town. And I got some Dan Tominski, Tim Halston played on it. and a couple of friends of mine from Chattanooga that are big bluegrassers, and that's kind of where it started. I had these buddies of mine that I used to play music with that eventually went on to bluegrass. But I thought we were having breakfast together one day. We'd get together and have lunch or breakfast, and I said, "Man, it'd be fun if we made a record together." You know, after these 30-something years of being friends and having played music together years ago, and then it all kind of came together. You know, with meeting Tim and working with him, and it was a lot of fun to do that.
Everything just kind of fell into place, and yeah.
And that's when that's usually the way the best things happen. They just kind of fall together.
It's like they say with relationships: when you least expect it, expect
there
it,
you
right?
go.
So it's same with music, same thing. Talk about the transition. I mean, you guys have been in this business for a long time, and you've seen changes from how music is delivered, from vinyl and 8-track, cassettes, CDs. Now everything is digital. To the social media trend. How has that affected how you relate to your fans and how you find new fans and get your music out to people?
I am so far behind on all the new technology. You know, I can text and get an email, and that's about as far as I go. We do have a girl that has helping me get the Facebook, you know, and all that and everything. And I can see where it's great. I mean, it just makes so much sense. Just in such a short manner of time, you can just talk to millions of people, basically, talk to the whole world. Just my generation, you know, I'm so far behind on that I have to have help with it. And it's like with my computer, you know, I'll tell my kids, come here, show me how to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
but the whole industry has changed over the years. You know, July will be 40 years I've been doing this for a living. And, you know, I remember when we'd make records and you went to edit it, you would literally have, the engineer would literally cut the tape with a razor blade and splice it back together.
Yes.
And to go from that to Pro Tools now, I mean, it's just amazing the difference.
Do you find that fans feel like they're closer to you? Because you guys have always had a very strong relationship with your fans and signing autographs and meet and greets and pictures. Do you find that they feel like maybe they're a step closer to you because of social media?
I don't know. Maybe the ones that aren't able to come to the shows, you know, that we don't visit their hometown or something. I'm sure they probably do. But, you know, like you said, after every show, we stay and sign autographs. We shake hands. We take pictures. You know, I know a lot of artists don't do that. I had one of the new guys come to me and said, really, you stay every show and sign autographs? He said, I couldn't imagine that. And I said, well, think of it this way. I said, first off, you're doing it there with a T-shirt, so you make a few dollars there. But the big thing is you've got a line of people back here that want to come by you and tell you how much they like you. I said, when you were dreaming of being a country music star, did that not work its way into it? Is that not what you wanted? I said, it's just so gratifying. Willie Nelson told me the best thing ever about autographs. I met Willie back in the 80s when I was working with David Allen Coe. And Willie had always on my mind. He was the biggest thing in country music. And he told me a story that he hired this new security guy. And they got up going to breakfast one morning or something in some town. And somebody stopped Willie, asked him for an autograph. And the next thing you know, there's just a mob around him. And the security guy says, boss says, you want me to get rid of these people? Well, I said, Lord, no, son. I spent 30 years getting to ask for it. Don't run them off now. And I think that's always stuck with me. And, you know, there's no way I can remember every person that I meet, but every fan that meets me is going to remember it. And my attitude and how I treat them will stick with them from now on. And I've always tried to do my best at that.
Is it safe to say that you're seeing other generations of fans come up that they were a fan when they were younger, you know, and now it's their kids or their grandkids?
Used to, it was people like somebody in their 20s come up and say, man, I used to listen to you when I was a kid. Then it's 30s, now it's 40s. I used to listen to you when I was a kid.
Exactly, yeah.
But, you know, the diversity of railroad music on our albums now, you take even the first album, you know, you're up for a Christian award on Jesus Mama and up for a Grammy on Trashy Women. That's a wide range of audience there.
Yeah.
And we've always been lucky in that we would have the kid, the parent, and the grandparent at the same show. And that's always worked well for us. But it is really cool when you see somebody that was in diapers when you put these records out and they're on the front row singing every word. That's great.
Yeah, that's got to be. So when you talk about the diversity, you know, of the music, do you find that you enjoy performing one over the other? Because you...
Not really. You know, another thing, another advantage to the diversity is we can play to so many different types of crowds. You know, I toured with George Jones, right up, he passed away, I've known for 20-something years, you know, and you do basically the same show there as if I'm out on the road with Charlie Daniels. But it's, you do the same hits, but the fillers in between, you know, the album cuts and stuff like that might change. But we've been real lucky in that we can do different types of shows. You know, you do a fairground, you can do a casino,
Right.
you can do a George Jones show, you can do a Charlie Daniels show. You know, we toured with Skinner years ago, and we still do some of the Southern rock deals.
Yeah.
And it's worked well for us, and that we have been that versatile and that diverse.
Yep, absolutely. What's the best story that has come out of Jesus and Mama? Anything that stuck with you?
Oh, there's so
gotta
many.
Be, I was just going to
people
say, there's
telling
got to
me
be a
they
lot
played
of
that
them.
one at their mother's funeral, Cadillac kind. They played at their dad's funeral. The one song of all those that I think it struck a chord with people the most, though, was when you leave that way, you can never go back was out. I had more people come up after the show, and I love doing this, not only signing autographs, doing the pictures and all, but just talking to the people, you know, and you kind of get an idea, you know, what made them want to
Right, what
pay
song
$15
grabbed them.
to buy that record or to come to that show. You know,
Yep.
what was it about what we do that made that an option for them? And I love hearing the stories from people, but when you leave that way, you can never go back. I had more people talk about how that song had literally changed their lives. I had a woman in Alabama say her son had run away from home, and he came back home about a year later because of that song. When she asked him, why'd you come home? Well, there's this band, Confederate Railroad, and I got this song. And had a woman with a drug problem. Had the state had taken her child away. She heard that song, she straightened her life up, got her kid back, got her life back on track. Things like that, you know. I've always been I've never taken this real seriously, you know.
Right.
I mean, I get to do this for a living. I get to get up and get on stage and sing songs. You know, wow, this is great. But it's fun, you know. There's that fun element to it. But then every now and then you get somebody like that comes to you with a story about a song that's really touched them, and it makes you remember how powerful music can actually be.
Right. Yeah. Has there ever been one of those stories that you've taken back to the bus and started another song?
No, not really. Not really. I think we kind of let each song stand on its own. You know, I've never had one that led to another.
Yeah.
But now that you brought that up, I'm sure I'm going to be thinking
No,
about
he's
that.
like, you know that story, we should take that and work with it. Well, I know that, you know, summer's quick approaching. I know you guys are doing stuff for CMA Fest.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to you guys being on our show.
We're looking forward to that, yeah.
You guys have a full schedule that you're going to be out and promoting this new project. Is there any venue that you just absolutely can't wait to get into that's one of your favorite venues?
Oh, there's a few that, you know, of course, every show's different, every type venue. And like we were saying earlier, we work so many different types of shows that it's like by the end of summer, you're really kind of burnt out on fairs. Well, you get to go back in and do clubs and casinos. Then you kind of get, okay, I've had enough of this. It's time to do the festivals again. So there's different type shows. You know, you have different pleasures, I guess you get from different type venues, different type shows. There's, you know, of course, I started out playing the nightclubs back in the 70s. You know, that's where I started. And I guess if I had to pick one type show that I would do from now on, it'd be some old smoky, smelly bar, you know, where the people
somewhere
are
where they're
up
right in
on
your
you
face and you can see your faces and watch them
I still enjoy that the most. And
Yeah.
we have several clubs that we go back to every 12 to 18 months, just every year like clockwork. So yeah, it's really hard to pin one down. I do have some of my favorites. There's a casino in Tuolumne, California, Black Oak Casino, that I always look forward to. The big club in Indianapolis, 8 Second Saloon, that I love every year. Phase 2 in Lynchburg, Virginia is always fun. So I've got some of my favorites.
There's some that have more memories, or just like the acoustics or whatever it might be.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
for
great.
different reasons. Yeah.
Well, probably the last question I want to ask you today, just because we're running out of time, but you know, when you first start out as an artist, of course, everybody wants that #1 hit. They want radio recognition. That's their big thing. And then as you get more, pretty soon you're looking at the awards and whatever else. there something else out there that you're reaching for yet that you have not achieved, that you want to be a member of something or get an award, anything that you're still striving for?
You know, back years ago, Atlantic Records had a party for us. They gave me double platinum on the Railroad record. They gave me platinum on the Notorious album. I got, MCA gave us a gold record for the Skinner Friends album. Got a gold record for the Maverick movie soundtrack. And they asked me, you know, kind of caught me off guard. They said, well, what does this feel like? And I said, well, and I still say to this day, you know, our success has surpassed our talent. You know, I didn't deserve this anyway. Anything from here on out is just icing on the cake.
It's all awesome.
We've already done better than we should have.
Well, I got a sneak peek of this whole album, and it's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you.
People are going to love it. And we look forward to hearing a lot more stuff from you. This isn't going to be the last one for sure.
Well, if I wait another 15 years, I
You
might
better
not
not.
be here.
You better not. I'm standing back here shaking my finger. We want more. So,
Well, thank you.
yeah, it's been a joy talking to you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
My pleasure, Bev. Thank you.
You're very welcome.